So this is chapter 6, a video on organelles, starting with plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, the word plasma means fluidy, membrane means which is made of phospholipids, 2 layers of phospholipids always. This is just a oil layer, oil-like layer on the surface of the cell. Don't think that cell membrane, which is made of plasma membrane, gives shape to the cell. No, it is as fluidy as oil. It does not give shape to the cell. Then what does it do? What is its function? It acts as a selective barrier, and it does not allow anything, everything to pass through it into the cell or out of the cell. So it will act as a nice barrier, but it is a selective barrier. What are the selective criteria? The selective criteria are the size of the particle and the charge of the particle. If it is small enough to fit through those membrane phospholipids, then it will go through. Otherwise, it will not. Don't think that cells are so smart. Pay attention here, guys. Cells are so smart that if it sees that it is not good for it, then it will keep it outside. No, it's not like that. If that is true, then nobody would have got any scorpion bite or snake bite, right? It's not like that. It is a selective barrier based on the size of the particle and the charge of the particle. If it is small enough to fit through the phospholipid bilayer, it will go through. Both eukaryotic and prokaryotes have the cell membrane made of plasma membrane, and the internal organelles in eukaryotic cells, all this Golgi apparatus, nuclear envelope, all these are made of organelles. Surface, they are made of plasma membrane as well. And both plant and animal cells have plasma membrane. Don't think that the plants are very different from us. They aren't. Are you paying attention, guys? So this is the structure of the plasma membrane under the electron microscope. As you can see, pay attention here, guys. This gray oval with yellow tails together is one structure like this, is called phospholipid, that you have seen in chapter 5. Like that, they form 2 layers, tails facing each other, because tails are hydrophobic and the ovals are hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means they like water. Tails hydrophobic means they don't like water, so they face each other. That is how your every membrane is made of. Every membrane is made of 2 layers of phospholipids. Each phospholipid has hydrophilic outer region in contact with water on the outside and also on the inside, and the hydrophobic tails which are in contact with each other. Interspersed in this, non-randomly placed, not randomly, non-randomly placed are the protein molecules. They are for different purposes. You will study that in chapter 7. Okay, there's water on the outside of the cell and there's water on the inside of the cell, guys. When these proteins are attached to carbohydrates, they are called glycoproteins. When phospholipids are attached to carbohydrates, they are called glycolipids. And if the particles are able to pass through between these phospholipids, then it will go through, guys. Otherwise, if it cannot go through because it is hydrophilic, then it will go through the pore in the membrane protein. Okay, let me tell you, guys, there is no connection between these phospholipids. They are just coming together because they are all hydrophobic. They are just simply placed like that, like oil molecules. Your cell membrane is very fluidy. It is fluidy. Okay, don't think that it is like a Ziploc bag. No, it's not. Coming to the next organelle, nucleus. Nucleus is the most important organelle of your cell because that is like a brain. It has all the genes which are directing the cell what to do, when to do, how to do, right? When not to do also. That is why cancer cells, the DNA mutations result in cancer. Okay, nucleus controls the activities of the cell. Make sure you memorize that. And DNA replication, in which is chromosomes copying themselves. It is not magical that copying themselves. There is a huge process about it, which is going to be described in DNA replication chapter coming in future. So this DNA replication takes place inside the cell before it divides, and then the chromosomes are separated, and then it becomes two chromosomes. And when all these chromosomes separate, it is called mitosis or meiosis of nucleus. And then the cell will pinch, and that will result in cell division. Coming to the parts of the nucleus, guys, take a look. This purple ball or spherical structure is called nucleus, and nucleus is double membrane. Remember, it is very important. Inside this membrane, remember again, membrane, right, made of plasma membrane, right, 2 layers of them, each one is bilayer. So there are 4 layers of phospholipids here, 2 membranes, each membrane is 2 layers of phospholipid. Okay, and this membrane has a lot of pores, guys. These are called nuclear pores. Okay, and inside the nucleus there are fibers which are made of DNA, which we talked about earlier in chapter 1. And this DNA, which is made of nucleotides, is a chain of nucleotides, is wrapped inside the nucleus with the help of proteins. That is why it is called chromatin. Chromatin is combination of DNA and proteins together, making the nicely packed structures of chromosomes, packed structures of chromosomes. Inside the nucleus, there is a very important region. It's a region. It's not an organelle, guys. Nucleolus is not an organelle. It's a region inside the nucleus called nucleolus. And this is the site of ribosomal RNA synthesis. Now, what is this ribosomal RNA synthesis? We will see it in the coming slide. But just remember that nucleolus is a site of ribosomal RNA synthesis and assembly of ribosomal subunits. You see this, guys? You see these brown dots on the nuclear envelope and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. These are called ribosomes. What do? They synthesize proteins. What do ribosomes do? They synthesize proteins. Again, if you think that the structure of the nucleus is because of its nuclear envelope, you're totally mistaken. No, the structure of the nucleus does not come from the DNA or the nuclear envelope. It comes from the mesh. Look at me. If there is a nucleus like this, which is membrane, this is an oily layer. Under this, there is a nice little stronger structure called nuclear nuclear lamina. Okay, sorry, it is called nuclear lamina. This is made of, look at this, guys, this mesh network of fibers. This is under this nuclear envelope membrane, and that network of protein fibers are going to give the shape to the nucleus. This network of fibers, which is under the nuclear envelope, it is called nuclear lamina, and it is made of protein fibers named intermediate filaments. One more time. Nuclear envelope does not give shape to nucleus. Nuclear lamina, which is inside the nucleus under the inner membrane of the nucleus, made of network of protein fibers called intermediate filaments, give shape to nucleus. Nucleolus is not an organelle. Just remember that, okay? And you must all know this. Chromosome is made of DNA, right? And in order to pack it, there is some protein attached to it. In humans, in humans, cells in humans, we have 46 chromosomes if it is a muscle cell or skin cell. But if it is an ovum or sperm, we all know ovum and sperm, right? Yeah. In ovum, there are 23 chromosomes. In sperm, there are 23 chromosomes. When together they mix, the cell is called something. When ovum and sperm mix, what is that called? Okay, yes. Yes, the fusion of ovum and sperm, the fusion process is called fertilization. And the cell that is a mixture of or union of ovum and sperm is called zygote. Guess what, guys? Even if it is big tree, pine tree or mango tree, huge, or tall human or short human or big whale or small fish, we all started our life with one cell called zygote. Can you see a cell? We can't see a cell. We all started our life, even that blue large whale, that one also started its life with one cell which is invisible. Can you imagine? Yeah, but they don't have 46 chromosomes. They have different number of chromosomes. This is particular to only human cells. Okay, guys? Chromosomes are densely packed in the non-dividing cells, and they are loosely packed when it is about to divide or not divide, replicate, DNA replication. Okay. These condensed structures are called chromosomes. They're condensed again during cell division. Coming to ribosomes, we all saw this. I want you to know one thing very thoroughly, that ribosomes are the protein factories. That means ribosomes synthesize proteins. How do they synthesize proteins? This is part of your lab midterm exam. We eat proteinaceous food, right? A chicken, fish, or beans. We eat protein. It is broken down in your stomach into amino acids. And those amino acids are sent to your cells. And these ribosomes, based on the gene that they are reading, or a copy of the gene that they are reading, mRNA, they know which amino acids to put together to make my nail protein, keratin, my hair protein, keratin, and my hemoglobin. My hemoglobin could be very different from your hemoglobin because I have a little blood disorder. I become anemic very quickly, and I am quite anemic all the time. I cannot absorb very much iron. They say it is something like beta thalassemia, but they could not conclude. So my hemoglobin will be very different from your hemoglobin. Okay, so I make my own hemoglobin of my own kind based on my genes. Who will make them? Inside the red blood cells, ribosomes will make them. My hemoglobin is not made by Golgi complex or nucleus or plasma membrane or cytoplasm. As soon as amino acids go in, they don't magically turn into hemoglobin and keratin, guys. We make them. Our smart organelles inside cells. Just imagine how beautiful the process is. You're not telling your amino acids, hey, get together and make a proper hemoglobin. No, we can't. It is all the program inside every cell which is executing itself. Just be happy, eat good diet, have good amount of water, and breathe well. That's it. Your cells know what to do. They beautifully perform all the execution and performance perfectly. Look at you, you're sitting and studying and using so many of those cells without your awareness what they are doing, huh? Anyways, there are free ribosomes and bound ribosomes. That means what? Look at this picture, guys. The ribosomes which are freely floating in the cytoplasm, they are called free ribosomes, which are attached to the nuclear envelope and rough endoplasmic reticulum. They are called bound ribosomes. There are some ribosomes in the mitochondria if it is animal cell. And there are ribosomes inside the mitochondria and also in the chloroplast if it is plant cell. FYI, there is mitochondria and plant cell also. Plant cell has many parts like animal cell, like you're seeing, like you have seen earlier, right? Each ribosome. Let's go to this each circle. Each ribosome has two parts. The big part is called large subunit and the small part is called small subunit. By the way, ribosomes are not considered as organelles by many textbooks. Some textbooks do call them non-membrane organelles, but then this is not made of membrane, so this is not qualified as an organelle for my tests, at least so far. What do? They read mRNA and they synthesize protein by making bonds between amino acids. Where do these amino acids come from? They come from the food we have eaten. Okay. Coming to endomembrane system, I want you to learn this. There is a little, I hope I started recording. Am I recording? Yeah. Okay. Endomembrane system, I want you to write down one mnemonic. Write down, never ever get Louis Vuitton purse. You guys know, guys do not know, girls might know. Never ever get Louis Vuitton purse. Louis Vuitton's, just remember that we are all students. As of now, we are not very rich. So we will make a pact for this class sake that never ever get Louis Vuitton purse because it is super expensive. Okay. Even if it is on sale, it will be still expensive for me to afford and for you to afford. Just make that pact. And then you can remember the organelles in order, how they work in order to synthesize proteins and transport them to the outside of the cell. Like hemoglobin, when it is made inside the cell and it is kept inside the cell. It works inside the red blood cells only. Whereas insulin, it is made by pancreatic cells, but it is secreted out into the blood flow, out of the pancreatic cells, right? So in order to secrete out of the cell, how does the cell use its tools called organelles? In which order? First the nuclear envelope, then endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, vacuoles, or vesicles, and plasma membrane. I have taken first letters from each of these organelles and I made that mnemonic, never ever get Louis Vuitton purse. If you remember that statement and write it down, take first letters from each, then you will be able to get all the organelles in order, how they work in order. You have to know the order, it's important. Okay. So what are the three functions of endomembrane system? Synthesis of proteins and transport, right? Not only synthesis, but transport, and metabolism and movement of lipids and detoxification of poisons. How does it happen? It will be given mostly in the textbook. I won't be explaining all that process here in the video. It's better to read on your own instead of me talking about it, because it will be too fast if I talk about it and it is of no use. I would rather sit and open my textbook and read. So as you can see, the nuclear envelope, the ribosomes here, they synthesize the proteins and they snake in through the membrane of the endoplasmic reticulum. They get modified here and then they get packed again in vacuoles, and these vacuoles walk on the microtubules which are between the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus, and these vacuoles with proteins, they come and fuse with Golgi complex. And here in this Golgi complex lumen, there are some enzymes which will modify these proteins, and then they're packed again, modified proteins packed again, and they walk on the microtubules and reach the plasma membrane, and they merge with the plasma membrane and they spill out their proteins. This is how insulin is made here on the surface of the nuclear envelope, but it travels through all these organelles and it is spilled out. This is called exocytosis. You will see this word in chapter 7, plasma membrane chapter. Okay, guys. So coming to the endoplasmic reticulum, what does it do and what is its structure? It is a network of tubules and flattened sacs, and it has two kinds, soft and rough, or smooth and rough endoplasmic reticulum. You have to know the functions of each one of them, its structure, where is it located, just outside the nuclear envelope. Okay, and these are called cisternae. These membranous folds are called cisternae. You have to particularly memorize, these are called cisternae, and whatever folds are there inside the mitochondria, they are called cristae. Don't mix them up, keep them separate. They look very similar. They start with C. and they end with E. So keep them separate. Cisternae are the folds of rough endoplasmic reticulum, these membrane folds, which contain the enzymes to modify the proteins which snake through, which are made by ribosomes. Okay. And coming to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, what do? They just call smooth, first of all, because it does not have ribosomes on its surface. It is made of membranes, tube of network, as you can see, and all these functions. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum metabolizes carbohydrates, stores calcium for muscle contraction, detoxifies, and synthesizes all kinds of lipids. All kinds of lipids. By the way, your estrogen, testosterone, all these hormones, they're made in smooth endoplasmic reticulum. They're made in smooth endoplasmic reticulum, guys. But that cholesterol is needed. So yes, we need cholesterol. Okay, just because I'm saying we need cholesterol, don't start eating cholesterol. Your body can make good amount of cholesterol even if you do not eat. Your liver does. Your liver cells do. Okay. Coming to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, these are the points. Just know the functions of rough endoplasmic reticulum as well. The Golgi apparatus, it is in the form of lasagna, right? It looks like lasagna, layers of tubes next to each other, interconnected. And these are also called cisternae. The vesicles that are coming to them, they are called cis-phase. And the vesicles that are leaving from them, they are called trans-phase vesicles. Okay. And what do? The enzymes in the Golgi apparatus membrane folds, they modify the proteins so that they become ultimately functional. Okay. And coming to all the different functions, it is dynamic structure of Golgi apparatus is dynamic structure. It manufactures polysaccharides and it sorts and packages materials, and it modifies the products of the ER. Just know that. And again, this is a nice, good summary. This slide is a nice, good summary of endomembrane system and its function. Thoroughly know this, quiz yourself on this, okay? Whatever I explained so far, it's all put together here. Okay, coming to lysosomes. Lysosomes are like your stomachs, write down. Lysosomes are like your stomachs. Your stomach performs digestion. In your body, it's an organ. Stomach is also made of cells. Inside your muscle cells, inside your brain cells, you have organelles called lysosomes, which also perform breaking of large molecules to small molecules called digestion, because they have enzymes. These are vacuoles. These are spherical organs, like balls, like golf balls. They contain enzymes to digest proteins, fats, polysaccharides, and nucleic acids. What do lysosomes do? They perform several functions based on the type of cell they are in. In some cells, like in brain cells and muscle cells, they perform intracellular digestion. And in some cells, or many cells, they perform recycle. That means old organelles, worn out organelles, they are broken down into molecules, and taking that material, the cell can make new organelles again. And by the way, let me ask you one thing. When you were forming in your mom's womb, you know that your hand was like a paddle, right? The fingers were not separate. It was like this. Okay. So what happens? It will slowly stretch, and it will be like a frog's paw. It will have all the web here. But do we have the web now? We don't have the web now, right? What happens when we are forming is these cells programmatically die. How do they die? When these lysosomes release enzymes, these cells die. They get digested and they die. That is how you'll get separate fingers like this. That is how you get separate fingers like this when you're forming in your mother's womb. Otherwise, it was like this, and then slowly it became like this, and then it became like this. This is due to the function of lysosomes, organelles in these cells which release digestive enzymes, and they kill them off. This programmatic cell death is called apoptosis. The second P is silent, apoptosis. Okay. And this is called apoptosis is programmed cell death. You might have a question on the test on this one, guys. You know that cancer cells die like that too. There are many autoimmune diseases which result because of this kind of bad programming which happens. Apoptosis can go wrong as well. And your bodies are so smart, guys. There are white blood cells going around in your body and telling your cells that, you know what, if this cell is looking bad, then I'm gonna blast it off. That is how well programmed your cells are. And that is again called apoptosis or necrosis. Okay, I want you to look at me. Look at this, guys. If there is a cancer cell tumor, right? Tumor made of cells. These cells are giving a little label outside. Okay, they form a little protein projecting outside saying that I'm cancer cell. I'm cancer cell. When white blood cells come and floating and touch this, come in contact with it, it is called intercellular interaction. I'm sorry, intermolecular interaction. This will recognize this white blood cell, which is a policeman in your body, recognizes this cancer cell, which is saying that I'm a cancer cell, will bind to it, will secrete cytokines and will blast it off. This kind of wonderful programming is there in our cells. So we really don't need to worry about it. All of us, in fact, not many, all of us will have cancer cells very frequently. But then they're all being killed because you have smart cells. Okay, this is immunology. And this is because of your lysosomes. This is because of your lysosomes, organelles called lysosomes. There are many other spherical organelles called vesicles or vacuoles, which are different for different kind of animals and plant cells. Food vacuoles are the ones which capture food in amoeba and all. Unicellular organisms. Contractile vacuole is the one which is holding water, extra water in paramecium, in freshwater paramecium, because they're living in fresh water. The concentration of water is more compared to outside. Compared to inside, outside is more, so the water keeps coming in. So their contractile organelles, they work like urinary bladder. They take in and they blast it off, going to the surface, so that they maintain the water balance inside this freshwater protist. And plant cells, they are bigger, huge compared to animal cells. The reason why they are huge is not because of, but the space is maintained using the central vacuole. In mature plant cells, again, guys, in mature plant cells, there is a big vacuole inside which contains lot of water. This is called tonoplast. This is again a vacuole or vesicle. Okay. Functions of vacuoles: stockpiling of proteins, ions, pigments, defensive compounds, and also increase the surface area to volume ratio for a mature plant cell. So this is how endomembrane system regulates protein synthesis and transport and many other functions. Okay. The recording. So endomembrane system is a combination of all the organelles which work in order, one after another, so that the protein that is synthesized can be exocytosed. That means spilled to the outside, such as insulin. If it is a protein that is meant to be in the cell inside the lysosome has enzymes, I said, right? Those are also made by the cell inside itself. And there are proteins, there are genes for it. And the proteins are made by the ribosomes taking the amino acids information from the mRNA. And when they are manufactured, these Golgi complex, which is secreting the cell, the vacuole, it will remain in the cell. It will not go to the plasma membrane and spill out the contents, because this is a lysosome which is supposed to be in the cell. If there are enzymes in the Golgi complex, they are also made by the cell. Okay. So everything is made by the cell, guys. So a cell is like a human. A cell is like a full human. It's a full entity in itself. It's a unit. That is why the definition of the cell is fundamental unit of structure and function of an organism. Whatever you do, you see, you smell, you detect, right? You think, you digest, you burn food, you detoxify, you excrete, you reproduce. All those cells are all those functions are performed by all the cells from beginning with the zygote. All the functions are performed by a cell, even including now. Many cells are performing many functions. Maybe when they're mature muscle cells, they do not reproduce because they're done reproducing. They're done dividing and making more cells. That is why, God forbid, if I lose a part of the finger, then the bone and the bone marrow and the muscle won't come back and the nerve won't come back. Only the skin will cover. I don't get this finger back, right? Like lizard's tails. Have you seen Spider-Man? It comes back. Our cells don't have all our muscle cells, all our cells don't retain the capacity to divide forever. They lose that capacity after certain age. That is why we call it mature, immature, right? Puberty. After puberty, we stop growing in height. That is what it is. Okay. Coming to mitochondria and chloroplast. Mitochondria are found both in plant and animal cells. Please know this. Yes, mitochondria are found in plant cells. Mitochondria and chloroplast both are double membraned organelles. They both have DNA, circular DNA in them, as you can see, blue rings. And they both have ribosomes inside them. You must know all this, guys. This is the basic material. Okay. Coming to mitochondria, it is called the respiration chamber, or else a powerhouse of the cell, because this is where your glucose molecules are broken down into carbon dioxides and waters in order to release energy from them. They're broken down by the enzymes and the molecules in the mitochondria. Structure of the mitochondria, it has smooth outer membrane and folded inner membrane. And these folds of the inner membrane, they are called cristae. In endoplasmic reticulum, what were they called? Recollect. And this is, and there none of them are colored. None of them is colored, guys. This fluid inside is called mitochondrial matrix. This is where DNA, circular DNA, and ribosomes are. These enzymes in mitochondria are synthesized by these ribosomes inside the mitochondria itself. And there are proteins which are not being shown here in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Okay, there are a lot of enzyme molecules and B vitamins and all in the mitochondrial matrix, which support the process of releasing energy, harvesting the energy by breaking the glucose or amino acids or fat molecules and creating or synthesizing ATP. Not creating is a bad word, synthesizing ATP or regenerating ATP. You must know all this, okay, guys? And in one short sentence, mitochondria are the sites of cellular respiration. That means they generate ATP from the energy that is coming from the food molecule, nutrition molecule. Okay. And ATP is broken down into ADP and phosphate to give you energy. And then in order to remake it, ADP and phosphate are reattached by taking the energy from the food. So it is like a cycle. It goes on and on and on. Okay. And there are several of mitochondria in the cell depending on its activity. Your red blood cells might have very few, and your muscle cells have more because they need more energy, more ATP. Compared to animal cells, plant cells, what they have different is chloroplast. Guys, don't mix up chloroplast and chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a molecule which is much smaller, and chloroplast is an organelle which is much bigger. Okay, because it is made of many molecules. Chloroplast is an organelle. What does it do? It photosynthesizes. What does it mean? Photosynthesis means mixing of carbon dioxides, 6 of them, and 6 waters together with sunlight energy packed together and making a glucose. Many glucoses put together is a starch. Is what is found in your pasta, beans. Yes, beans also have, other than protein, they also have starch. Onion, potatoes, rice, all this has starch, which is made of many glucoses. Chloroplasts are found only in green parts of the plants. Only in green parts of the plants, even if it is root or banana or green pepper, doesn't matter. If it is green, it has chloroplast. That means it has chlorophyll in them. So where is chlorophyll? This is the structure of the chloroplast: outer membrane, inner membrane, and the space between them is intermembrane space. Inside the inner membrane, this vesicle or this convex structure, this this is filled with fluid called stroma. The stroma has circular DNA and ribosomes, and it has membrane chips arranged on one on top of the other like a stack. That each membrane chip is again phospholipids. This outer membrane and inner membrane is also phospholipid bilayer, guys. This is also phospholipid bilayer. Okay, don't think it is green. And they have space between them. This not phospholipid, but the chip is called thylakoid. Thylakoid is made of phospholipid bilayer. Inside is the space, and they are arranged in a stack. That stack of thylakoids is called granum. Stack of thylakoids is called granum. They are all interconnected. And this phospholipid bilayer of thylakoid membrane, it has pigment molecules called chlorophyll embedded in them. They also have other pigments like xanthophyll and all that as well. They're called accessory pigments. You will learn this in later on chapter called photosynthesis, all their functions, okay? So you have to know all these parts, guys, all these parts. Where is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is embedded in the thylakoid membrane. Membrane is made of phospholipid bilayer. You must know like this, okay? There are enzymes in the chloroplast also. They are synthesized by ribosomes, and the genes for these proteins are found in this circular DNA. Okay, there are photosystems, and there are so many things. You will learn all those later. Coming to peroxisomes. Peroxisomes are the organelles, which are again circular, and they are one membrane layer. They do not have double membrane, and their function is to detoxify the alcohol and other harmful compounds, and also hydrogen peroxide, break it down into water and oxygen, and also to break down fatty acids, which is not given in the slide, but it is there in the textbook, guys. Peroxisome has enzymes which will break down fatty acids, long chain fatty acids, to smaller molecules. Okay, peroxisomes are also meant for detox, like your smooth endoplasmic reticulum. If you have questions, message me or email me, contact me and ask. Cytoskeleton, just like you have endoskeleton, right? Skull, vertebrae, bones, humerus, femur, and all that, like that, you're inside a cell, which is 70% water. If it is a living cell, not a bone cell, right? It has protein fibers called cytoskeleton fibers. They're made of proteins. They are not organelles. The cytoskeleton is not an organelle, guys. It is made of protein fibers. It's made of fibers. And cytoskeleton inside the cell, which gives strength to the cell and shape to the cell, these fibers, protein fibers, are of three types: microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments. Your textbook has done a good job of explaining how are they different from each other. Please know thoroughly the structures and the functions of each microtubule, microfilament, and intermediate filament cytoskeleton fibers. Microtubule are the kind which are like tubule. The name itself is saying they have a hollow inside, and it is made of protein molecules called alpha tubulin and beta tubulin, which are arranged in the form of helix. And the functions of microtubules are, which are spanning from one end of the cell to another's end. These are pretty long. They can break and reform. They are dynamic structures. They help in movement of organelles. Remember I said vesicles move from endoplasmic reticulum to Golgi complex, and Golgi complex to cell membrane. They're walking on them. The organelles are walking on the, like we walk on the road with our 2 feet, like that organelles walk on the microtubules. Okay, so they help in the organelle movement. They help in cell movement. Amoeba has to float from one place to another place. And they help in movement of chromosomes, separating the chromosomes from between two cells of daughter cells during mitosis and meiosis. They help in that. And also, what do they help in? They give shape to the cell. And you can see here in this lasagna kind of structure, which is cross section of the cell, these blue girdles, these are the microtubules. Okay, and ones which are connected to the surface, attached to the surface of the cell membrane, plasma membrane, cell membrane. Cell membrane is covering the cell, made of plasma membrane. Okay, plasma membrane is a material, like water is a material, protein is a material, DNA is a material, like that. Plasma membrane is the name of the material, because it is fluidy. And these purple lines attached to the cell membrane on the inside, these are called microfilaments. And these green ones, which are forming a network connecting all the organelles, these are called intermediate filaments. Guys, don't think that your cell is hollow and all organelles are floating around as they like. No, they're all nicely placed. Okay, they're not rigidly placed, but they are nicely connected. They are occupying a certain region in your cell. Okay, thanks to these intermediate filaments and all these connected to microfilaments and microtubules. These are the pictures for all the functions that I mentioned. See, your centrioles and the centrioles are made of microtubules. Know that as well. Both animal and plant cells have centrosomes made of microtubules, but plant cell centrosome do not have centrioles. Guys, this is a very important point. Plant cell centrosomes do not have centrioles. Okay, and coming to the microfilaments, they are quite thin, made of actin protein, and they help in maintenance of cell. They help in changing of shape of the cell when amoeba has to move. And muscle contraction, if I have to move my hand like this, it is because of microfilaments that it is happening. And they help in movement of cytoplasm inside the cell. In plant cells that happens, and also in formation of pseudopodia in amoeba, and in cell division during the pinching of the cell. When the cell has to be pinched, that is the microfilaments. And chromosomes have to be separate, that was microtubules. Know the difference. Okay, coming to intermediate filaments, very important thing. They connect and they keep the place of the organelles, right? They keep the organelles in place, and they also help in shaping the cell. And the microvilli, which are the extensions of your intestine, which help in absorption of the food. And intermediate filaments, they keep the organelles in shape. They anchorage the organelles, nucleus, and all the organelles inside the cell. They give shape to the cell, and they are the ones which form the nuclear lamina and give shape to nucleus, not the nuclear envelope. I mentioned that earlier, right? What else? The structures between the cells. Between animal cells, the protein fibers which connect them, that is called extracellular matrix, which stands for ECM. Whereas between plant cells, there is no ECM. Between plant cells, there are structures which keep them joined. The cell walls are joined by the structures called plasmodesmata. Make sure you know the difference, guys. Plasmodesmata are between the plant cells. These are extracellular structures. These are not intracellular. Extracellular structures. I did not say organelles, structures, right? Plant cells and bacteria have cell wall. Plant cells, cell wall material protects the cell from bursting because they're outside all the time, right? All the rain water that is pouring on them, it would blast them off if there were no cell wall. So every single cell in plant leaves, fruits, vegetables, flowers, roots, everything, every cell is placed in a cover or material called cell wall made of cellulose. Okay, how does cell wall help? It help the cell's shape, not cell wall. Cell wall helps plant cell maintain its shape and also prevent the excess of water uptake or imbibing, so that the plant cells won't burst and die when it is raining for 2 or 3 or 4 days, right? Or you're watering too much with your sprinkler system. Layers in the plant cell wall, you must know: primary, middle, and secondary. Where are they? Middle is naturally in the middle. Primary is the one which is mm, primary is the one which is closer to the cell membrane, and secondary is the one which is closer to the cell membrane, and primary is the one which is on the outside. Middle is between the two primary cell walls. Know that, please. And between the plant cell walls, piercing through the cell membrane of this cell and this cell are connected, piercing through the cell wall. This connection, this bridge, right? This bridge or the overpass kind of thing between the plant cells, these are called plasmodesmata. These are called plasmodesmata. You must know this, guys. What do they work as? They work as channels, so that the adjacent cells in plant leaves and roots and branches, they can communicate with each other and they can maintain the water level and the nutrient levels and the ion levels. And they look like this. Okay. These gray lines between the cells, they are called plasmodesmata. Coming to the extracellular matrix, this is the material outside the animal cell, outside the animal cell. It is made of all this material called collagen and polysaccharides and all that. And when the collagen synthesis goes down, that is when we get wrinkles. And that is why these actors go get those collagen injections in your skin, so that their face looks nice and bouncy again, right? Not old and wrinkly. Hey guys, this is very important. The junctions between animal cells, they are of three types. Tight junctions, also called watertight junctions. The two cells are so tight that no water seeps through. If all the water would seep through between the cells, then your body will be this big, guys. So the muscle cell and muscle cell, they are so tightly attached because of those tight junctions. No water seeps through between the cells. It shouldn't. Okay. And desmosomes, they are called anchoring junctions, gap junctions, which are the channels between the cells, which will help them communicate with each other. You see this, guys? This is like a zipper, right? These are the tight junctions between the cells on the surface of your intestine, on your skin, in your brain cells, between your muscle cells. All these watertight junctions at the top, they do not allow even the water to go between them. If water would go between the cells, then you will swell up like anything. It's not a good thing. This is a very, very ill, diseased condition. Between the two cells, to keep them anchored to each other, there is something called desmosomes. And between them, there is a bridge that is called gap junctions. This is desmosomes. When we work out, these are the ones which will have tear, because these are the protein attachments between the cell membrane and the cell membrane of two adjacent cells. When you work out, these have tears when you lift the heavy weights, right? And when you're resting and you have eaten protein diet, then a lot of protein gets filled up between them. That is how your muscle tones up. Don't think that your muscle number will increase when you work out. No, your muscle number won't increase. Your muscle number will remain the same. Once you're grown up, you're done. The same number of muscle cells. But the amount of material between them, that increases, that gives you the toned appearance. And this gap junctions are made by these proteins which cover the cell membrane, and there is a pore between one cell and the other cell, so that the water and the ions can pass and mRNA can pass between them. And what else? So cell is a wonderful thing, guys. It can perform lots of functions that you perform as a person. And please read all these important points. and study thoroughly, do end of the chapter questions, and also do mastering biology and Quizlet or things like that. Write down notes, pause the video, write down notes, and do study well. Okay, there's a lot of material in this, but it is not unmanageable. If you are planning to be in biology field, then this is the basic material for you. This is the basic ground for you. You have to know all of this and much more, because the questions will be on what happens if your peroxisomes are not working good. Then it results in a disease. Does it result in a disease called Alzheimer's or Tay-Sachs disease? You have to know that. That material is there in the textbook. So read the textbook. That means read it like a fiction, right? Get a nice base ground, and then write some notes and memorize the important points, know them thoroughly, quiz yourself, and then take the big test. Okay.